What's good, YouTube? Thank you for stopping by to visit the channel for this college football playoff projection of week 13. This is the next to the last playoff projection that we are going to have this year. So playoffs is almost here. Season is just about to get wrapped up. If this is your first time visiting this channel and you want to hear a different take of college football from an analytical perspective, if you haven't done so already, please click that subscribe button, click the notification bell, and select all so you don't miss out on another video. Also, like the video and share the video. And also, if you can, give me your version of what you think the top 6 or the top 10 would be if you were on the committee. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start off this video like we always do. If you are new here, I like to start off the video with the college football playoff selection process, just to let you guys know that there is really no such thing as the eye test. It is all just a big load of BS that the committee feeds us and wants you guys to believe that they're watching the games. Just to be 100% honest with you, they're not watching the games. It is all a formula that they use. So this is the selection process the committee uses. Obviously, wins and losses. Quality wins is a win over a team with a winning record. So 5-5, if you're at 500, it is not considered a quality win. You got to be at least one game above 500 for you to be considered a quality win. Bad loss is the opposite of a quality win. It is basically a loss to a team with a losing record. So for example, Florida beat Tennessee earlier this year. Now, Florida was not a team that was below 500, but since they lost to Missouri this past weekend, it counts as a bad loss for Tennessee's record because Florida is now 5-6. Top 25 wins goes without saying. Wins against teams that are currently in the top 25. Game control is just another buzzword that the committee uses as margin of victory. Strength of schedule is used to sort teams, not necessarily to rank teams itself. Strength of schedule is one of those final items that it will use to determine either head to head, or if both teams have like similar resume, they will actually use not game control, but strength of schedule over that. And conference championships goes without saying. Teams who win their conference championship gets a little bit more weight. And as you notice in that selection process, I did not mention the word eye test. You're going to hear that a lot. There is no such thing as eye test. It doesn't exist. It's just one of those things that people like to say. I don't think the committee knows what eye test means. It's just got to be one of those things that people are people just use. I don't know why they use the word eye test, because it doesn't exist. It's a load of BS. All right, so from 21 through 25, I'm going to get this right one time. It's very difficult to get the top 25 right, especially when you have teams that were in the bottom half, close to that 25 through 21 range lose. So these 3 teams actually made the top 25 per the model. Liberty, it has been trying to get Liberty in the top 25 for the longest, but I think this time the model is finally going to be right here. Clemson, 7-4, they're actually going to help out teams like Florida State and also some of these other top teams. NC State and Clemson, very helpful, very impactful for Florida State and Louisville, especially to help with their resume and their top 25 wins. So that's going to be one of those that's going to be notched onto them. Tennessee, as I mentioned before in the selection process, they're 7-4. They now have that bad loss to Florida. Florida is now considered a bad loss because they're now 5-6. Tulane, one of the committee darlings of the P5, 10-1. But if you want to kind of compare resumes, Liberty actually has a better resume than Tulane. The issue is, I don't know what the issue is, to be quite honest with you. Liberty has a stronger game control than Tulane does, and they're undefeated. So I'm not really sure why the committee is not really a fan of Liberty, but it is what it is. So, but yep, that's where the model actually has 21 through 25. And up next, we will go through 15 through 20. We got a lot of teams that are 8-3 between 16 and 20. Iowa, only team that is not 8-3. They are 9-2. Pretty solid resume. 4 wins against teams with a winning record. Iowa, unfortunately, they don't have any top 25 wins on their resume. Arizona at 17 is a great story for this year. Hats off to Jetfish and his job that he has done out over here in the desert here. So I'm pretty sure the fans over in Tucson are really excited on what they have coming next upcoming years for sure. As long as they can keep him around, I think they're going to be fine in the not the Pac-12 because unfortunately this is going to be their last year, but the Big 12 as soon as they make their move. Notre Dame, K-State, and Oklahoma State, they round out the remaining ranking between 15 through 20. 11 through 14 is pretty academic from here. Penn State, Ole Miss, Oklahoma State, and LSU, they round out 11 through 14. Not a ton of changes here, to be quite honest with you. Penn State's definitely going to be higher than Ole Miss. Oklahoma, I mean, the big thing about Oklahoma, they had too many losses, unfortunately. If they were a one-loss team, I think they would be in the driver's seat to a potential playoff spot, but you just can't lose 2 games, unfortunately, man. When you lose 2 games, it's just going to be tough for any team to climb out of it. So the model actually made a change in the top 10. It actually flipped Louisville and Missouri. The thing about Louisville is when you add NC State to the top 25, it gives them an additional top 25 win. So with Louisville, you got 2 top 25 wins and 6 wins against teams with a winning record. That is really strong. Now, that's actually tied for first among top 25 teams with a quality win with 6. And then when you add that top 25 on top of that, I mean, it definitely helps. And then their game control is also better than Missouri's as well. Unfortunately for Missouri, yes, they still continue to keep stacking wins. They still have those top 25 wins as well. But the game control, unfortunately, for Missouri was the tipping point that caused a flip for the model itself. So would it surprise me that Louisville jumps Missouri? Yeah, in a way, in the eyes of the committee, but if they do value game control the way that they value game control for Oregon, you would assume that they would put Louisville ahead of Missouri since their resumes aren't necessarily similar. Missouri does have the stronger strength of schedule, but their resumes are not comparable. So based on the resumes not being comparable, you can't really put the strength of schedule argument over Missouri. So one of the big changes, as you can see, is in the top 6. As we can see, Oregon is still right at 6, so it's going to stay there. Florida State dropped from 4 to 5th. Now, what's going to help Florida State is Clemson being in the top 25 per the model. The model is giving Florida State that second top 25 win. They got 5 quality wins, which is still a solid resume. The game control is at 21, so it is over Washington, but I think the model has them flipped in this case only because they like Washington's quality wins and top 25 wins. Washington has 6 wins against teams with a winning record. That's also tied for first with Louisville, and 3 top 25 wins as compared to Florida State, who has 5 quality wins and 2 top 25 wins. So I could see Florida State staying at 4 just to kind of maintain the status quo, but the model is sensing a shakeup between Washington and Florida State. It has no reason for the Jordan Travis injury. That the model does not predict injuries or anything like that, or any random acts of God, but is really based on what the committee criteria is based on. But I could say this: it would not surprise me if the committee does decide to drop Florida State. I just don't see it in my eyes. I think Florida State is still going to stay at 4 here. And to round out the top 4, we got Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, and Washington as the surprise at 4. So basically between 1 and 3, everything is going to maintain status quo, in my opinion here. The only thing that I disagreed with is Washington and Florida State flipping between 4 and 5. I think Florida State should stay at 5. That's not 5, but should stay at 4. And Missouri, I think Missouri should stay at 9 and Louisville at 10. So I think the top 11 or 12 top 12 should stay the same in my opinion. But the model is sensing that there's going to be a shakeup. So we'll see how it turns out. The model has been pretty has been pretty solid over the last couple of weeks. It was able to get all top 25 teams in. By order, it missed out by a few spots, actually. I think it missed out by 1.2 spots last week. So we'll see how close it's going to get this week. And that's going to be it for this college football playoff top 25 projection of week 13. Let me know what your top 6 should be or would be, and also your top 10 if you wanted to go that far. Thank you again for visiting the channel, and have a great week.